I'm telling you, cash means business. It's all coming out, every little last bit.
We are looking at so many different leads on criminal activity by those who are in positions of power. And we're not going to stop until every single one of those is fully exposed. The documents are provided either to Congress or the courts of law, and make every referral we can to the Department of Justice. These indictments that you've seen and the ones that you're going to see coming up here in this near future are just the beginning. But I have to remind the audience one thing. Everybody's like, it's 7 months. What have you guys been doing? Yeah. Well, they spent 20 years building this diseased temple of corruption.
And now it's over. Yeah, you better believe it's over. And I like how he calls it the diseased temple of corruption, because effectively that's really what it is, right? Well, he's exposing all of it. He and Dan Bongino together, along with Pam Bondi, Lindsay Halligan over in the Eastern Virginia. We're going to talk about her because she's cleaning house. She's getting rid of all of the perceived corrupt attorneys who didn't want to move forward with various indictments because, they got friends. Didn't Dan tell us the other day, who the heck needs a friend in Washington? You need a friend, you go get a dog. And we are there to do a job, and we're going to keep doing this job, which is exactly, the president is supposed to be distanced from this. He is distant from it. He's like, I'm letting them do it. But, he knows what went down. He knows how he was targeted unfairly in, frankly, a total violation of his civil rights. And it wasn't just him. You wonder why Eric Trump's book is number one? He came on the show the other day. We talked about this. Why is his book number one? Because it wasn't just him and his family, but anybody who was associated with the MAGA movement. And you didn't have to be working for him. You didn't have to be running the campaign. You didn't have to, if you were a journalist, of course, look, it goes with the territory. I get it in my business. But if you were an everyday American, you were at risk. If anybody saw your Twitter, if anybody saw your Facebook, if anybody knew that you supported Trump, you were basically persona non grata, and that was encouraged. And that is why Americans are angry. It's why they helped elect him again, and he won. So you can do all the no king stuff you want. Guess what? He won the Electoral College and the popular vote. So make America great again. He means business. Cash means business. Dan means business. Let's listen in to his interview with my friend Maria over the weekend.
All of these indictments caused Obama the other day on a podcast to say that right now democracy is being threatened.
Yeah, I know. He says that all the time. He's the one that threatened it by spying on my campaign. He started it. Obama spied on my campaign, and he did it knowing it was illegal. He knew it was illegal. But he started the whole thing, and there were a lot of dishonest people, and I suspect they'll be caught.
Yeah, they're gonna get caught. That's what's been promised here, okay? So if you were a dishonest person, I'm almost quoting Dan here because I played you guys the clip before and I want to show you something new from him. But he went on Fox about 8 weeks ago, maybe 10 weeks ago at this point, and he said, look, if you were a dishonest politician, if you were doing things that you shouldn't have, we're going to find you and we're going to hold you accountable. Because you know what? No one should have to go through this. Like what actually happened is so bad, whether you're talking about Russia, whether you're talking about, the Hunter Biden laptop, that was just misinformation, disinformation. We've shown you the emails, right? The emails between Brennan and Mike Morrell, the deputy director at the CIA, unbelievable stuff, all created the mind creation of Anthony Blinken, who was Biden's top guy, went on to become Secretary of State. He didn't get a peace deal done in the Middle East, did he? No, what did we see under Anthony Blinken? We saw an eruption of a war between Ukraine and Russia. We saw a disgusting pullout out of Afghanistan with soldiers, American soldiers being killed in the process. Just unacceptable. Dan Scavino, Dan, he was actually on with Lara Trump, Eric's wife, of course, over the weekend. And he was saying, you know what? Things are different this time around. Totally different because this is Trump 2.0, baby. Get used to it.
The differences are absolutely incredible. We're not being attacked every day or investigated every day. The head games they played, they wanted to silence us. They ultimately wanted to put us all away for life. Then when he announced for the presidency, and we went full steam ahead, we worked in courtrooms behind the scenes. We're putting out Truth Social posts. We're campaigning. We're turning his press conferences in at the conclusion of a court hearing. Butler, Pennsylvania, we talked about last time, changed everything. Literally changed everything. It was from that point forward where I knew that he would be the 47th president of the United States. And then he just brought on a great team of people when we won the presidency. I mean, it is all surreal. I don't have time to even sit back and think about it and think about what we've been through and what we've done and what we've achieved. There will never be a President Trump ever, ever, ever again. He's changing history for the better. He's fighting every day for your children, your grandchildren, your great-grandchildren, my family. That's why I do what I do. We could go out tomorrow and make millions of dollars. I instead take a government salary to fight for the American people every day. And that's everybody in this administration, all for President Trump, because they adore and they love the guy and they love the American people. They're patriots. And that's why we're here. We're on a mission. We're on a mission to deliver for everybody out there. And we're going to continue this mission. And we're going to fight hard each and every day, no matter what hit pieces come our way, no matter who tries to take us down. We're going to fight, fight, fight.
Right? Wasn't that what the president said way back when? Remember when they tried to take him down and he was shot in Butler, Pennsylvania, and what did he say? But fight? I mean, even Mark Zuckerberg, right, saying that was a moment of truth. That was a moment where he just was blown away, because who in that kind of situation, I mean, most of us would be, at least I would be, very scared, running for cover. And what did President Trump do but stand up and say, fight, fight, fight? In other words, there's something pretty magical about everything that's happening. And I think this is what Americans are responding to. And we've had enough of all the craziness that went down and went on. And so now, as we look at Kash Patel exposing, quote, the temple of corruption, as we look at Dan Bongino saying no one is safe. If you are a corrupt politician, we're coming for you. As Scavino says, hey, and he's the deputy chief of staff now in the Trump administration. Look, this is a whole different administration, and we're here to do everything we can. You know what? Things are changing. They're changing fast. So if you're Adam Schiff, you're getting a little bit nervous right about now. I mean, you know that, there's some concern about his mortgages, as the president has articulated before. You see, he had 2 primary residents, which you can't actually have in the banking world, okay? That would mean that you lied on one of your financial documents.
You're a developer, very successful developer. How does a family afford to live in a one-bedroom apartment?
Now, it looks like Adam Schiff really did a bad thing. They have him. Now, let's see what happens. It's not up to me. It's not up to, I stay out of it purposely. But it's mortgage loan fraud. It's a big deal. He defrauded banks and insurance companies and the federal government. But it's very simple. It's mortgage loan fraud. And you're right. It's a lot of people to live in a one-bedroom apartment, right? But he put it down. But he has a lot of other things far worse than that. So, no, Adam Schiff, they have him 100% on mortgage fraud. Now, if there's anybody else in this room except you would have no problem. But anybody else in this room, you'd have a problem. I'd have a problem.
Of course, because you can't actually have a couple of primary residences. And just for the record, take a look here. What primary residence means in lending, it's the residence that you live in, okay? So you can't have 2 of them. You can have a second home, and that's a secondary mortgage, a secondary loan. That's kind of like the vacation home. You have the primary home, and then, hey, if you get an income property, that's something else. Letitia, I'm looking at you, right? You can't have a primary home in Virginia when you live in New York, and you can't have a secondary home in Virginia that you're then using as a rental property, which you then listed on another set of documents as a rental property, so an income property. Those all come with sort of different rates because they involve different sets of risks. So poor Adam Schiff, he's out there saying, well, not poor, I don't actually feel bad for him. He may be very poor when this is all said and done. I don't feel bad for him at all. I mean, and don't sit there and tell me you didn't know, buddy. I mean, for goodness sakes, you're a lawyer. You're now a senator. I'm assuming there's like some brain cells. I mean, I realize they're limited, but you got something going on upstairs. You at least ought to have people around you, advisors that are smart enough that you shouldn't be signing on to 2 primary loan documents. I mean, who the heck does that? So if this is all true, and this is what is being alleged, and FHFA and Bill Pulte have all come forward and said this is what we see. So if this is the case, wow, Adam, I don't know what to tell you, buddy, but you're up one creek without a paddle, and you're looking at federal prison.
They have committed massive political crime. I hope they're looking at Shifty Schiff. I hope they're looking at all these people. And I'm allowed to find out. I'm allowed to, I'm, in theory, the chief law enforcement officer. But I have a very good, talented group. This is about something else, but I hope they're looking at political crime, because there's never been so much political crime against a political opponent as what I had to go through. They raided my house in Florida. It was an illegal raid. They raided illegally my house in Florida, Mar-a-Lago. They went through the drawers of my young son. They went through all of the cabinets and drawers of the First Lady. She walked in, she said, wow, what happened? because she's very meticulous. And this wasn't so meticulous. As she looked into the drawers and she saw everything a mess. What they did against a person that just got out of office. And then you look at these corrupt people. You look at Hunter Biden. You look at the signature as an example, the Europen. I just signed so many different things.
Okay, so
I'm signing them left and right. The commission.
He's got a lot in there. He's talking about what Schiff did, right, with the indictments. He's talking about what happened at Mar-a-Lago with the raid on his home. By the way, Biden had them for years, intentionally had them, knew he had them. And, they were just all in the garage next to his Corvette, as he was fond of saying. Anyway, and then you think about Russia. I mean, it goes on and on and on. The level of perceived corruption, and I'm just going to say corruption because we know certain things, right? We know about the Russia stuff. We know that Tulsi Gabbard said that Barack Obama gathered everyone into his office in December before the handover of power because they were so horrified that Donald Trump won. How could that be, right? So they decided to go with this opposition research that Hillary Clinton's campaign had paid for via Perkins Coie. And they went with that. And they created an entire narrative to the point where James Comey, who's now been indicted, was calling up his Columbia University law professor friend, the guy who was on the payroll as a consultant for the FBI, and he told him the whole thing so that he would go out and plant the story in a mainstream media newspaper, where they're not asking any questions. And the next thing you know, you get a special investigator, a special prosecutor, all into the Russia thing. I mean, it's really kind of unbelievable. And now they want to turn around and say, oh, we knew he was going to do this. He's just trying to tear the system apart. He's akin to, I saw signs that said Germany 1939. That just made me just so disgusted. He's akin to Hitler. Are you kidding me? Somebody who slaughtered 5 million Jews? I mean, you actually want to say that about Donald Trump? Are you kidding me? I mean, do you have any idea how disrespectful that is to the world? I mean, here's a man who comes along and says, hey, let's enforce the law, let's enforce the border, which actually the Democrats wanted to do until he came about. And suddenly he's being equated with one of the most horrific, demonic figures in history. Are you kidding me? But this is the only hand they have to play, you see, because it's all coming out. And so this is what Adam Schiff was saying. He was warning, he's going to do this, that, and the other. You bet he is, Adam. Sorry, Shift.
He can't do the job. He won't protect the public. He will misuse the resources of the Bureau. He will weaponize it against the president's political opponents rather than protecting the public safety of the American people.
I'm sorry. You're the one who is stupid enough to go out and allegedly get 2 primary residences. You can't do it, Adam. It doesn't work that way, for goodness sakes. There's a price to pay for mortgage fraud. Alleged. Shall we say? We'll see, because I expect that indictment any day now coming out of Maryland. Meanwhile, again, they're saying what they're saying. Oh, this is just a weaponization of the government. No, it's not. You want to talk about who weaponized the government? We know who weaponized the government. Oh, yeah, we know.
What about the other names that Donald Trump listed off yesterday in the Oval Office?
Yeah, look, all of those people, we know that there are some investigations already ongoing, but Donald Trump has made very clear that he is directing his Justice Department to investigate his enemies. I mean, he made it clear in a Truth Social post, which is reportedly was intended to be a private message to his Attorney General. And we're seeing evidence of it all over the place, of career prosecutors under pressure to bring cases, whether there is merit or not. That is, as the senator said, that is a crisis of democracy. That's something we've never seen before. And the Justice Department historically has been independent. It doesn't appear that it's independent right now. And as Donald Trump himself said, he's the chief law enforcement officer. He said he hasn't been involved in these cases, but the evidence suggests if he's not involved, people close to him at the White House are certainly driving this train, Katie.
All right, Ken Delanian, thank you.
Again, what do they think happened?